Hello and welcome to today's LOL Esports Round Up. We're going to cover the games from this morning in the LCK, preview tomorrow's games in the LCK, and also LEC opening day. So there's a lot of sneak peek here. If you'd like to predict the winners of those games, go to the Discord. We have a predictions thread. We keep track for points and whatnot. So if you'd like to predict who wins, go there. So LCK Week 1, Day 3. I went 2-0. I'm 13-5 on the year. That's members only. If you'd like my predictions, that's in the members only section. Support only is for the badge in the comment section. T1 versus KT. T1 first in my power rankings. KT 8th. T1 1-0. They're coming off of a 2-0 win against Gen G. In KT, this is their debut in 2023. T1 would win 2-1. I named Keria MVP. Guma UC would go 9-3-17, 35% of T1's damage. Faker 13-4-15 in mid. And then BDD led the way for KT, going 4-7-7 with 27% of their damage. I thought KT played a great series. There are some in the chat that even believe KT could have 2-0'd this series. The drafts were very sus by T1. I felt like KT actually did have an opportunity to win this series on draft alone, but they didn't get it done. Keria was MVP because in Game 3 he played Ashe support. They played Varus Ashe and did very well on it. I think it was into Zeri Heimer, and it resulted in, Keria ended up being MVP. I mean, his arrows were great. He hit some great arrows and set up and allowed Guma to deal the damage, Faker to get kills. Faker on Kassadin in Game 3 was dominant. I think he had 8 kills in that one. But Game 1 he really struggled, so I didn't make him the MVP. Plus, I made him MVP last series, and I thought it was pretty clear that he was in that case. But in this one, not so much. The top side of the Rift, Keen and Zeus were pretty close. Zeus, I will say, in Game 2 had definitely... I was going to say probably, but I think it was definitely the best K'Sante game we've seen thus far. Making sure I'm recording and not streaming. Now that I live view games, I'm afraid I'm clicking the wrong button. But his K'Sante game was very impactful in Game 2. Good in team fights and got the job done. Mid lane, like I said, Faker was impactful on the Kassadin, and in Game 2 he was relevant. I think Game 1 he played Galio, and Galio I think is not very good. So... that didn't work. And then the bot lane, Aiming and Lehens. I thought Lehens played a very, very good series for KT. I would argue he was the MVP of KT. In Game 1, he did a great job keeping Aiming alive. That really gave KT an opportunity. There were moments where Aiming was down to I wouldn't even say 5% HP, and Lehens was there to save the day and really gave them an opportunity. So I would argue that the supports were definitely the most impactful in this series. And KT following through on the projections people had of them off of their scrim results that they were going to be very competitive, and they were. Sandbox and Damwon Kia, speaking of competitive, this was not it. Sandbox making their debut. Damwon Kia 1-0 coming off of a 2-0 against DRX, 4th in my power rankings. Damwon would go 2-0. Canyon is my MVP again. Now, Deft 18-0-5, 30% of damage. Obviously, that stat line is disgusting. Canyon 4-1-19. Birdall 0-5-2, 29% of damage for Sandbox. Damwon Kia. So, we had a weird situation here. Sandbox did not want Zeri Yuumi. It made no sense. Yuumi was there both times. They declined it both times. And the Zeri, so it's not like it was Sivir Yuumi. It was Zeri Yuumi both times. They declined it. Instead, going with Vi. So, just one second. Okay, so Sandbox and Damwon Kia, very one-sided. Like I said, Sandbox did not want to draft properly, and they just had it completely screwed up. Canyon got bot lane ahead in both games, really playing bot lane centric. Clearly identifying that I want to win this. This is the matchup to win. It makes sense. Showmaker and Closer. Showmaker's better than Closer, but that's probably closer in terms of, well, one could argue that you want to affect that matchup because it is closer. But nevertheless, identifying that they want Deft and Kellen ahead, he does that. I will say that Deft did get a 2v2 kill in one of the games, so they did do that as well. But I feel like Canyon on the Maokai is so impactful. Best jungler ever in some people's eyes. I'm going to continue to give Canyon MVP as long as he's going to bot lane before there's a gap and successfully ganking. If he's going to get people ahead if he's going to need to go down there to get somebody ahead, then he's going to get the credit. So for what happens after, unless there's a penta. Pentas are exceptions to the rule, but that's the deal with that. Damonki just dominated the hell out of him. I mean, I don't know how I can describe it really any more than that. It was absolutely just crazy. Really, Damonki looks like they're fourth in the power rankings. They look like an elite team. So tomorrow we have Genji and DRX. Genji 12th, DRX 19th. Like I said, Genji coming off of a loss to T1 2-0. DRX coming off of a loss to Damonki 2-0. These 2-0s are not created equally. Genji played much better in Game 1 than they did in Game 2. And even their Game 2 could be argued was better than DRX's Game 1 or Game 2. DRX were awful against Damonki. Week 7, Day 2, Genji 1-2-0. The last time these two teams faced. 4 out of the 10 players from that series are in this game. In the starting lineup, we got Doran, Peanut, Chovy, and then Barrel on DRX. So there is no match when it comes to roles. Chovy went 17-1-3, 2 Ari games in that series. Just absolutely disgusting. His Ari now 16-2 after losing to T1 on it. Doran and Rascal is the matchup I highlighted. The Discord disagrees. Half the voters picked bot lane, Pays Delight, and ducked on Barrel. In my opinion, top lane really is going to matter because I honestly believe Rascal is DRX's only hope at really being a true blue carry. Reading too much into one series, but Duck Time and Barrel looked really out of place and not cohesive. It was awful. And honestly, Krako I don't think is very good, and Fate isn't either. So it's going to come down to either DRX's bot lane or the top lane, and I think that Rascal and Doran are pretty closely matched. I will say that the bot lane is always going to be interesting because we're trying to watch Pays progress and see if he can get better. A lot of people gave him a lot of criticism for his first series, and I think that was off base. He got help. He got ahead because he got help. Well, it reminds you of other players I just talked about that are able to carry with the help they get, but the fact of the matter is they needed help to get there. Pays was unable to follow through on that, but at 17 years old, it's reading too much into it. It's doom and gloom already. It is what it is. I think that this should be an easier matchup than Deft and Kellen. Easier matchup than Guma and Keria, which some people might consider the best bot lane in the world. Now, Kwangdong Freaks and Fred at Breon. The Freaks coming off of a 2-0 loss to HLE. That was rather close. And Fred at Breon, no longer Fred it. 1-0 coming off of a 2-0 against Nongshim. That was very contested. Game 1 was a backdoor. Game 2 was one a little easier, where they didn't have to pull out some crazy antics. Week 7, Day 3, KDF won 2-1. 5 out of 10 players from that series are in this one. All of them are on Breon. None of the Freaks are from that series. So Morgan went 10-6-11 in that one on the losing side, which is pretty interesting, right? Having a KDA of 10-6-11 losing. Bulldog and Karis is the matchup I highlighted, and 4 out of 9 voters felt similarly. Bulldog, really struggled in the first game he played, but then again, it was on a Talia, and I think Talia is really, really bait. When people pick it, I think Talia is not good. And Karis played well in Game 2. His Rise, I think, had a quadra to clean up at the end of the game. We'll see which young mid laner is going to get it done. The bot lane, Taeyun did have a 2v2 kill alongside June, so there is an opportunity that maybe this 2v2 will be a bit spicy. The issue is Breon plays so slowly that it may limit the craziness of the series. Now LEC, we're gonna preview LEC tomorrow. G2 and XL. G2 14th in my power rankings. XL 21st. Last time they played was week 7, day 1. G2 would win. Only 3 of those 10 players are on the same team, going into this one that were in that one. 5 out of 10 technically when you take into account that Targamas and Mickey have swapped teams in support. Broken Blade went 1-0-15 in that one because it's only BB, Caps, and Patrick as the 3 players that stayed with their team. So BB had the better stat line than Caps. Caps went like 2-2-13 or something. Caps and Bethio is the matchup I want to watch. 6 out of 12 voters feel similarly. I think Bethio is the second best mid laner behind Caps. Larson is up there as well, but I think Bethio is disgusting. I think that being on Excel and not on Misfits is going to give him an opportunity to no longer be really focused down by the opposition. His laning is fantastic. That is one area where Caps does not do as well, but Caps does have outplay potential and better team fighting and things like that. So it's like, it's a pick your poison situation, but at the same time, I think Caps and Bethio is definitely the matchup. BDS and Koi making their debut, formerly known as Rogue. They're 15th in my power rankings. Week 8, day 2, BDS would play Rogue and actually win. Half of those players are in this series tomorrow. Well, game. They're not series. Nuke, formerly known as Nuclear In at the time, went 3-1-13. Larson, 4-1-3. The matchup I highlighted and the Discord also agreed was Crowny and Lebrav against Comp and Trimby. Comp and Trimby, currently the best LEC bot lane in many people's eyes, and mine included. I think Trimby is absolutely fantastic. His open-mindedness to champions is an edge that a lot of other players don't have. And Crowny should have been on BDS last year. He wasn't, and now he's reunited with Lebrav. 11 out of 12 voters feel similarly. I think we had 1 vote for the Adam and Cisgenda matchup as well. Heretics making their debut against Astralis. Heretics formerly known as Misfits. Week 7, day 1, Heretics, aka Misfits, would win. The only holdover from that team is Mursa. 3 out of the 5 players on Astralis are from that team as well. Dajor, Kabe, and Jonghoon. So Mursa in the win would go 1-1-8. Jonghoon 1-5-3 on one of his Pike games. Jonghoon's Pike was rather impactful for Astralis, really swung some games for them, when they had some bright spots. And really, Jonghoon is the brightest spot for Astralis. He's kind of trapped. We'll see if he can follow up 2022 with a good 2023, where he really came out of nowhere last year and performed well. Bot lane, I'm focusing on Jack Spectre, Mursa versus Kabe Jonghoon. Not only because Jonghoon is the best player on Astralis, but also because I want to see Jack Spectre play. His stats don't really represent what people say about him, so I think the eye test needs to actually come into play on this one. And Kabe and Jonghoon aren't, great. I mean, Jonghoon's good, but Kabe is washed. So this is a bottom half bot lane. This is a test if they're better than a bottom half bot lane. 9 out of 12 voters want to see Eevee and Finn, because similarly, Eevee's going to be tested. Eevee's an older player from Japan. Everyone's hyped about him. So we'll see how he does against Finn. SK and Mad Lions, week 5, day 2, Mad Lions would win. 3 out of 10 players in that game are in the game tomorrow. Niski and Surtus are 2 of them in the mid lane, and then Elyoya in the jungle for Mad Lions. Niski went 5-4-10 in the win. Surtus 5-3-4 in the loss. The matchup I'm looking at is Exakik and Doss against Karzi and Hilly. Similarly, the Jack Spectre situation, I want to see this rookie play. I haven't seen Exakik or Doss play. And at the same time, I liked Exakik's stat, so I'm interested to see how he does against a bot lane that many would consider in the bottom half as well. When it flips tails, it's going to be completely coin flip, Karzi and Hilly. If you are a Mad Lions fan, or if you are illegally gambling, flip a coin and you'll know the result of the game. The Discord agrees. 9 out of 13 people also are going to be looking at that bot lane matchup. Lastly, Fnatic and Vitality. Vitality 22nd in my power rankings. Week 8, day 2, Fnatic would win. 4 out of the 10 players in that game are in the game tomorrow. Humanoid and Perks, and then Razork and Wonder for Fnatic. So Humanoid would go 3-7-7 in the win. That is a rough scoreline in a win. Perks 5-1-7 in a loss. Reckless and Rux and Neon and Kaiser is a matchup I highlighted. The bot lane. The Discord obviously has a man crush on Bo, but I'm a big Reckless fan, so I want to see Reckless play. I know there's 4 out of the 5 games I have the bot lane here, but the fact is I am not going to hide it. I mean, Reckless is my favorite player, so I'm really happy to see that he's back in the LEC and no longer contract prison and completely screwed by G2. So that's that. And then the Discord, though, 11 out of 12 voters, Bo versus Razork. If Bo doesn't gap Razork, that'd be a problem, given the fact that Bo is a carry. We have not seen a lot of carry champions thus far in the pool. Maybe he goes Wukong or something. It'd be hilarious if he went Sejuani tomorrow. It would be an absolute... I'd probably just laugh my ass off at the time. People would be so upset because they're just hoping that he carries in this and that, and he just ends up with Sejuani or Vi or Poppy and just ends up being a dog champ in that game. That'd be a riot. So if you enjoyed this video, like it, subscribe to the channel, become a YouTube member. $3 a month allows me to continue doing this daily. I'd really appreciate it. I live view games if I can. I'm going to live view these. I'm getting up, at midnight my time to watch these games, and then after this is over, take a nap, get back up to watch these 5, and then do a video like this after that. So if you want to support me, $3 a month allows me to keep doing that stuff. $10 a month, that's YouTube membership. You support me, get the badge in the comments, just like the $3 tier, and you get extra content, which is going to include what I think these games are going to actually be, maybe a little bit more opinion involved. The videos aren't overly long. I shoot for under 10 minutes, but at the same time, with a lot of games to talk about, who knows how long it'll be. Nevertheless, thank you for watching. Like I said, join the Discord if you want. Follow me on Twitter, and I hope you come back for more content.